This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit, Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
What's up, Crusters? This is MOSHPIT, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show where it's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with MOSHPIT.
Hey, what's up, James? How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm excited to be on with you today. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And can you tell us where MOSHPIT will be moshing next event-wise?
Of course. Well, I am a mainstay at Wrestling Federation of America in Concord, New Hampshire. Our next show is on September 26th, and that's called Fallout. I'll be featured in a rematch against Sean Vegan Keegan, which I'm excited about. And then October 3rd, I'll be in Fall River, Massachusetts for Top Rope Pro. Our show, basically our version of Halloween Havoc, and we've got the legendary Gangrel in the building.
Oh, yeah. And where can we find you on social media and merchandise?
So for merchandise, ProWrestlingTees.com/Tales of the Moshpit, TAILZ, or you can just search Moshpit. I should be the only one that comes up on there. I haven't checked in a bit. But my socials are the same thing, TAILZ, Tales of the Moshpit. I primarily use my Instagram and Facebook, but you can catch me talking a little bit of gas on X from time to time.
All right. And you don't have to go looking for it. All of the links to all his social media and merchandise will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox. So, let's get into it. You are the first person to hold the Wrestling Federation of America title in 15 years. How did all of that come about? And what did it mean to you to be the first person to hold that title in, such a long, length of time?
Oh, man. The whole experience was just something kind of incredible, because I had started to get involved with Wrestling Federation of America when it started up again, and I kind of didn't know the history behind it until, I really dedicated some time to it, and I started learning about how it was Steve Bradley and Scott Reed that were really kind of the front runners of everything. And once I kind of found that out, it kind of took on a different level of importance for me, because at the time I was just trying to get bookings, wherever I could, wrestle wherever I could, and they were giving me quite a few dates. So my first thought was, let me just keep giving these guys my time and showing them what I can do, and just kind of see where that goes. And it ended up that, for me, the whole situation was a growing up experience in wrestling for me, because we had this big championship tournament, and I ended up having one of my favorite matches still to this day with Kingpin Brian Malonis when I won that championship. And I think because of that established me as, kind of a hometown hero in Concord for WFA, because I lost the championship a few months ago, but if anything, that's only made my relationship with the fans there just that much stronger.
Right, because,
Mm-hmm.
was you done?
Oh yeah. That was kind of me wrapping that up. But I will say just to throw a little caveat at that at the end of that because I just have so much love for the Kingpin. Brian Malonis really brought out the best in me, and I feel like he made a man out of me in wrestling that day. And I as far as that being a transformative moment, it's pivotal in my career. I will never forget that.
Was was winning that championship, was that a moment that you took in the moment, or is it something that kind of sets in afterwards? Like, wow, I did this.
Oh, man, so to give you a little bit of backstory, the day that I won that championship was June 10th, and and June 10th was a special day for me. It used to be like a bad day, a day that would kind of come and it would hit, and I would feel gray and sad because I lost two very, very important people to me. Like it was the same day on different years, my grandmother and my grandfather, two people that just I appreciate that. You know, it was a while ago, but it's still like those were two people that invested themselves in me and were people that I looked up to growing up. And just to know that I could take that day and I could change the meaning of it, and it doesn't have to be a sad day anymore because I did it for them. You know, in the moment when they handed me that belt, I had real tears in my eyes. It was an important thing for me, and you know, since then we've had two different champions holding that WFA belt, and right now it's Superfan John Austin, and I gotta say, like, I really hope his moment when he won that championship was the same. You know, it was that maybe a growing up moment for him because it just meant so much to me, and I want that championship to continue to mean that for people down the line.
And I mean, it is a championship that carries a bit of weight to it. No, people like Matt Taven, Vincent, Tommaso Ciampa, just a few names that's carried that title in the past.
Right, and those were my mentors. Matt Taven and Vincent were the people to break me in and teach me the basics how to wrestle and get me going. So like, of course, that was just so surreal for me. In the same way that holding the top rope belt, Matt Taven's held that one as well, and my teachers went to the school that I train at and that I help coach at. It's kind of like a big full circle thing, man, and it's cool to experience.
Okay, but how often did he remind you that he's Matt Taven?
On a regular basis, we were reminded of that. Um, Actually, my friend John and I both, when I was first starting out, we would help him film his Ring of Honor promos at our wrestling school. So there were a few of them that I helped. My day job, I do concert lighting and stuff, so I would help light the scenes for him, and my buddy John would film. We were always reminded of how Matt Taven really is.
Oh, but that's actually quite interesting to see your coach, cut promos because, usually, wrestling schools are just, the wrestling part of things. So, what did you kind of learn, watching your coach, cut his promos?
Well, especially with that time, that was the time when he was Ring of Honor World Champion, and he had this gigantic chip on his shoulder, and watching him cut those promos definitely gave me like kind of a bit of insight into how to add drama to what you're doing and intensity and passion and let people feel what you are feeling. He still is very, very good at, like you said, reminding people of who he is and, kind of grabbing on to people's attention and not letting them go as long as he's speaking. And that was big for me. And I try to emulate that kind of energy whenever I have the chance to have the microphone or get in front of the camera and do a promo.
Now, you also mentioned, you also held the Top Rope Promotions Heavyweight Championship. Simultaneously as you were Wrestling Federation of America champion. What did that kind of mean to you to hold two titles at the same time from two different companies, being trusted as the guy?
that was just it, is that it was amazing to me to know that I had come so far, that two different companies had this amazing sense of trust in me, to be the guy, to be out there in front, to be the flagship, the company guy, and kind of, not only, lead as a sense of being on the show and setting the standard for everybody, but being a locker room leader too, and helping some of the younger guys come up and find what's going to help them, and I take that very, very seriously, in both places. If I have an opportunity to give somebody, a small bit of insight or a little tip here and there, but like, hey, this helped me get past this little roadblock that I was hitting, and it gave me momentum to continue, learning. I didn't feel like I was plateaued anymore. Those are the things that I try to offer, as opposed to, I know some guys are like, oh, I don't want to hear the vets lecture me and blah, 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 blah. I don't want to lecture you. I just want to give you a little bit of tips. If you choose to use it, if it works for you, great. If it doesn't, I'm not going to be upset either. It's an exchange of information. It's what you do with the information that, defines you, in my opinion.
Right. And, speaking of information, nobody has more information than everybody's wrestling uncle, and that is Brutal Bob Evans. You were in
I was hoping we'd talk about Bob.
Yes, Brutal Bob Evans. You were in the ring with him. You went one-on-one with him. Can you tell us about your experience wrestling Uncle Bob?
So that's another one of those gigantic sentimental things, because when Matt and Vinny ended up moving down to they moved down to Florida at one point or another, and our school ended up closing, so they recommended to all of us, hey, go up to Top Rope, go where we go, learn from the person that we learn from, and keep training. So it took me a little bit, but I did. And it was very intimidating because the lockup academies, Spike Dudley's lockup it's a place that just breeds talented wrestlers and competent wrestlers. And even though things have changed slightly, over the past few years, now that Bob is training there along with Helio Markopoulos, if you're familiar with him from, he had TNA Gut Check, he was in OVW, he trained with Al Snow and Ivar, and Mike Hollow as well. To have that kind of like learning tree there has been everything to me. And Bob is one of those people that saw that I was hungry and that I wasn't okay with stagnating and not moving forward. And I asked him one day, I was like, hey, how do I get to the next level for me? And he said, get in the car with me. Get in the car with me, drive to some shows. So I did. And for the past probably a little over a year, maybe a year and a half, I've been traveling, doing seminars with him and Kevin Kelly, which is also amazing. And when we finally, it was a while before we actually had an opportunity where him and I were able to wrestle a match, because we were both baby faces in the company, and honestly, a lot of times it doesn't make sense booking wise. So the first opportunity we had to wrestle was on a campground show, which is kind of non-canon for us. It's just, we kind of go out there and throw a good show together. But we had another opportunity during the Kowalski Cup, which was just incredible. And we actually had a wrestling match, it was, I don't know. We didn't call anything. We just got in there and we wrestled. And I feel like at the end of that, he had a great deal of respect for how far I'd come. And that was really all I ever wanted, was to show them that, hey, I've been listening, I've been training, I've been working my ass off, and it's paying off,
Right. Is that a good measuring stick for, how far you've come? Is, getting in the ring with your coach and, having that match?
100%, man. 100%. If you had asked me, hey, you're going to go out on the show and you're going to have, a match with your trainer, I probably would have been crapping my pants because I used to get so nervous, like, am I going to blow it out there? Are people going to see right through me? Am I a likable character or person in general? And I'm one of those people that has, like, ADHD and anxiety, so, like, I always have these thoughts of self-doubt, and it's constant, it's constant maintenance to keep those thoughts at bay. Whereas what Bob did for me and what Ilya did for me, I'm more confident that even if you put a challenge in front of me where it's going to be a tough match or something like that, I don't sweat it. I don't get nervous. I don't get jitters. I get excited, because even if I beef it, even if I mess up, it's an opportunity to learn. Nothing bad can ever come of it if you have a great perspective.
Right. And, I personally, the highest form of compliment a coach could give you is, to go one-on-one with you in the ring. Especially considering, what a name, Bob is. Did you kind of feel that way as well? That it was a big compliment to you and the work that you've been putting in?
Very much so, because he had been saying how much he wanted to wrestle me for a few months at that point when we finally got a chance to do it. And it wasn't even like he was talking about, I think that when you and I get to go one-on-one for 60 minutes, that's when you've graduated. So we didn't get to do it like a 60-minute Iron Man match, but we did have a good wrestling match, which we hugged. It was a moment after the match when we got to the back, and it was almost like hey, we're putting you on your own 2 feet here now. Trust yourself to help others. So that's the kind of the mentality that I got now from that, because it was such a moment.
Now, going from, Brutal Bob to a name that you don't necessarily hear a lot about, especially nowadays, and that is Gene Snitsky. Can you tell us about Wrestling Gene and how that kind of came about as well?
I don't think I've wrestled Snitsky, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've had a match with Snitsky.
That's interesting because it is on Cage Match, and this is like the second time that Cage Match has lied to me when it comes to.
Oh no! Hey, don't get me wrong. I would love to have a match with Snitsky. That guy still goes, And if I'm not mistaken, he does wrestle for NWA here and there as well, right?
That I don't entirely know, but yeah. Okay, so let's move on. I'm assuming that this match did actually happen, and that is one against Wrecking Ball Legursky. No?
Oh, Wrecking Ball, yes! Yes, that was that a Rebel Spirit match, or was that still WFA at the time?
I don't have that written down here. But it was before the match with Brutal Bob Evans, I believe.
Okay, so I do think I remember that one, because I definitely wrestled Wrecking Ball when I was very, very green. We wrestled on probably another campground show or something like that where he beat the tar out of me. But the one match that we did have, I believe it was either Rebel Spirit or it was right towards the end where that booker who started Rebel Spirit was still working for WFA. That was a match that Brutal Bob came up to us afterwards and says, "Hey, I just want to tell you both how incredibly well you've done and how far you both have come." That was a big deal, because that was before, Bob and I got to have our match. That was like kind of the start of, me getting my confidence in where I am as a wrestler. And not for nothing, but I've known Wrecking Ball Legursky since I started. You know, he was good friends with my trainers. He wrestled right down the road. I did ring crews for Northeast Wrestling, and he was a mainstay at Northeast Wrestling. You know, so being able to wrestle each other these years later, we just had a good time. We had a really good time. You know, it was kind of one of those moments where we were comfortable with each other, so we were just like, let's have the best match that we can have, and I feel like we did. So, funny enough, I still haven't been able to watch that match back to this day. I don't know if it made its way onto YouTube or not, but if it's out there, I definitely got to find it.
It was for Wrestling Federation of America. It was a heavyweight championship match.
Oh yeah, okay, yep, that makes sense. That was likely an outdoor show, I think, and maybe Weymouth, I think. And that was actually supposed to set up a really fun feud with not sure if you're familiar with Dark STG.
Yes.
Yeah, that was supposed to set up a really, really good feud. But there was some behind-the-scenes stuff where the booker ended up leaving, and some storylines didn't exactly carry over. So a little bit of a disappointment, but we've been getting Jersey Muscle up at WFA, so there's definitely still a chance that we could have a cool-ass match.
And it did take place in Town Hall in Weymouth, Massachusetts. So you were spot on that.
Oh yeah, all right, cool. My memory isn't too bad for being dropped on my head all these times.
Now, just going back to let's talk about something. Let's switch gears a bit here. Can you tell us about that time you were in a music video for Debt Ray Vision?
Oh yeah. So that was part of my initial school, my first school, and as it turns out. Let's see, I think it's Mike D from Killswitch Engage is the bass player, or was the bass player for that band.
Okay.
And they were local guys. They had always come to XWA shows, and they would always get like front row seats and stuff. So I guess they had hit up the owner of the school and was like, "Hey, do you have a ring or a place that we could shoot a music video? We've got this idea." So naturally, given my name and my wrestling style and all that. They asked me and a few other of the students if we wanted to be a part of it. And as it turns out, there was a dude that I went to high school with that was the director of that music video.
Oh, wow.
And we had a nice little reunion, and the music video was incredible. The little funny inside detail about that is, so the owner had just bought a brand new ring. And it had come maybe the week of, and unfortunately, this was just an accident or whatever. They ended up sending the wrong pieces of frame, so the actual ribs of the ring didn't have any support. You definitely shouldn't be wrestling or taking a bump in this ring just because it wasn't sitting right, it wasn't measured right, the lumber didn't fit on it right, or anything like that. So there were giant ratchet straps just holding this thing in place while we had probably about 30 people in this ring, and we're all moshing and banging our heads and stuff. It was my kind of party, but the whole time, all of us were thinking, oh, hey, in case any of us fall through this thing, is there a plan B? But yeah, fun time.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Marty the Mart from Lucha Underground was a part of that.
Yep, he definitely was. He was he was one of the main characters in the story of the music video, and it was really cool. In the moment we didn't know he was going to be there as like a guest or anything like that, but he was friends with the band, and they flew him in to do it. So like, I'm just kind of standing there, and we're on set, and we're shooting a music video, and Marty the Moth is giving people wrestling moves right in front of me. That was a real fanboy moment, if I'm totally honest with you, because I loved Lucha Underground. Like, oof, such good wrestling.
All right. Well, it sounds like a great experience. Which will switch us to our next segment, and that is Mosh Pit's Bizarre Adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Ooh. Okay. So this is this is interesting because I'm actually wearing a T-shirt that Uncle Bob made for all of us. So there was a time where it was, I believe it was me. It was my friend, the Premier Louis Leon. It was Uncle Bob, Kevin Kelly, and I believe it was Uncle Bob's son Robbie. And it was like the five of us, and I think we had a minivan for that drive. And I think we were going to Virginia, if I remember correctly. I might be off on that, but either way, so we discovered during the ride that Uncle Bob has like this tick. He doesn't like mouth noises. So obviously, being wrestlers, we decided to mess with him for most of the ride and just try to find like which mouth noise irked him the most. But what ended up happening was something extremely bizarre but funny. Is we found out that the noise he disliked more than anything was like kind of making a turkey gobbling noise with your mouth.
Okay.
And
like a turkey.
That turned into like a turkey. So we ended up calling ourselves the Turkey Boys, the tag team that has never been, but is somehow so over with just about everybody who hears about it. So now it's become a thing. It's, anytime me and my buddy Lewis see each other, our greeting is, Turkey Boys, and then we gobble. And it was so endearing for that whole ride, because we probably spent about 18 hours total in the car together for the whole trip, that by the end of it, we had gotten Bob on board with it, and he made us all shirts. He made us all shirts that had our names on it, and it's got I'm wearing it right now. It's got 3 pictures of turkeys in leather jackets.
That's a great story, and the fine tradition of a rib becoming reality.
It so is, and those are my favorite things too. When a joke just becomes something special that you share between people that care about each other,
I mean, we're coming up on November. We're coming up on Thanksgiving. Do you think we'll finally see the debut of the Turkey Boys properly?
I mean, I would genuinely love for that to happen. There just needs to be a right time and a place for it. Now, Louis Leon and I have wrestled as a tag team before. We wrestled Bear City Vice at Mega Championship Wrestling in Ohio. Very fun, but we didn't actually call ourselves the Turkey Boys in that moment because, like, the promoter didn't know. We were unfamiliar with them. We were there as part of the seminar with Kevin Kelly and Brutal Bob, so obviously we didn't want to wear out our welcome in any way. We were very grateful to have a match. But if anything, I would think the Turkey Boys would probably happen at Kevin Kelly's show, his new promotion called Time Honored Excellence in Pennsylvania. If it ever happens, it'll probably happen there.
All right. So, check social media for the debut of the Turkey Boys. I'm feeling that this is going to be a November thing as well.
I'm hoping for it. As a matter of fact, I might send Side and Kevin a message and be like, "Hey, we're sitting on a golden opportunity here. What do you think?"
Hell yeah. That being said, can you tell us about the pillars of character?
Oh, wow. Wow, all right. Yes, I totally can. So, wrestling with character is, I would say that's kind of like a passion project for me. I'm involved with it because good friend Kurt Adonis, he's the one that puts that together along with Nick Barbary, and it's it's generally used as a fundraiser for like special needs and kids, and it promotes, imagine if Mr. Rogers was a wrestling show. It's lighthearted, it's campy, and it really does a lot of good for the community, in my opinion. And when it first started out, he told me like, "Hey, I do need some help with lighting, but I want to involve you as well." And at that point, I was like, "Okay, well, I'm in. I don't really care what it is. I'm happy to be involved, and I'm happy to help you, and all this." But what it ended up turning into was this great, I don't know, this great like kind of cult following on the show, where it has so many different characters, wrestlers taking up, different monikers and things like that. Like Anthony Green, he plays like kind of this rock star with a bad attitude, and things of that nature. But all the pillars are kind of like minions from that movie Despicable Me. They're kind of haphazard and unorthodox, and we wear these kind of overalls and these colored face coverings and goggles and things. And as time has gone on, the pillars have become like a huge part of what the fans love. They love the spots where they see the pillars come out and get involved in things, to the point where now we're talking about having the pillars be involved in matches, and I'm really, really excited for it, because like I said, it's just it's not a money thing. It's not a I'm getting this great exposure kind of thing. This is doing good for the community. It's doing good for kids. It's doing good for special needs kids. It's raising funds for communities. Like that's important, and I want to make sure that at least some of my time is dedicated to that, kind of always.
You're the purple one, correct?
That's right. That's right. I think my promo pictures for that, I'm holding a big incandescent Lico light.
It wasn't hard to pick you out with that.
Yeah, you can almost always tell, because my big ear gauges are bulging out of the mask there, and you can see my tattoos on my hands.
Are you satisfied with being the purple one, or was you kind of like, could I be the blue one or the pink one, or?
Well, the purple one was given to me. That was like the color that Kurt picked for me, and I just kind of ran with it. I didn't really have my own wants or desires as far as that was concerned. I was just like, when a promoter comes to me and says, "Hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking, this is what I want," my first instinct is to always, okay, how can I best deliver on what you're asking of me? As opposed to, well, I kind of want to do this. That's not always the best thing for the vision of the show. So I try to keep the mentality of like, all right, they have an idea of what they want. Let me first, before I contradict any of that, let me think about how I can best be this character. So when I was given the purple pillar, I was like, okay, well, what if I call myself Perp? P-U-R-P. And I make it funny, and like kind of the way that I move around is like almost like I have no knees, like I'm walking on stilts, and I try to, communicate non-verbally because we don't speak,
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I just kind of tried to run with it, man. I didn't really have my own desires as far as that was concerned. Like, oh wow, I'm being given this role, and I just want to make the most of it.
No, I asked because, if you ever seen Reservoir Dogs, when they're giving out the colored names, and
Oh, I remember too.
nobody is Mr. Black. Well, can I
Right.
be at least like a different color than pink?
Why do I have to be Mr. Pink? No, hey, purple's a good color. It's a royal color, and a color that does kind of represent where I came from.
There you go. So it did work out.
It did.
All right. You mentioned it. Your tattoos. Can you tell us about your tattoos and if there is any significant meaning to them?
Sure. So as I said before, my kind of main job outside of wrestling is my friend and I own and operate a lighting company that sends out lights and tour packages for heavy metal bands and touring bands and stuff like that. But my other day job is I work in a tattoo shop, and I used to be a tattoo artist for a little while, but mainly a body piercer. And a lot of my tattoos I've designed myself. Some of the tattoos that I have are, they're designed by friends, and it was just nice to have some work done by them. But I have my left arm is all Star Wars. I'm a gigantic Star Wars fan, and so I have like Admiral Akbar in full admiral dress. I have what's that? Yes, it's a trap. I have General Grievous, when he was a tribesman, before he was all bionic and stuff, Darth Vader, and then a Boba Fett on my inner bicep. All stuff that I plan on adding to. And then my right arm is like all stuff that I've designed, and it's kind of horror themed and monster themed. I think that my favorite, though, is my chest piece, because it took me time to kind of build and expand. I started from the center with an anatomic heart and then moved out. And then on my shoulders, I have both my sisters and their names tattooed on my shoulders. And that was one where it was really significant to me, because when I got that done, I sent the picture. I was in the military at the time, and I sent the picture to my mom and my sisters, and I said, I just wanted to let you know that even though I'm not there, I love you guys and I think about you all the time. And my sisters and I always had like kind of this weird relationship growing up, but after that I feel like some barriers kind of came down and we got much closer. That was just a nice thing for me. So those are my two favorite tattoos. But outside of that, I do have plans for more ink now that I'm working again in the industry. I saw a fan who got the first MOSHPIT tattoo, and I was blown away by that. That somebody would get that. It was one of my T-shirt designs of all things that they got tattooed on their forearm, and I thought to myself, well, okay, there's no excuse now. I have to get one. I have to have a MOSHPIT tattoo. So I have a friend of mine, Theo, who's a wonderful artist who's done some work for me in the past. He's working on the design for me. If you're familiar with the movie Triple X, how he had the 3 X's tattooed on the back of his neck, we're going to do the same thing, but with my MOSHPIT M.
Okay. It's crazy, a fan got a MOSHPIT tattoo. Obviously, buying a shirt is, supporting. Getting a tattoo is commitment, I would say.
I agree with you.
What does that kind of mean to you, for somebody to, properly, put a part of you onto them like that?
It's so significant, man, because, I try to be a realist, you know what I mean? I understand that there is a giant wrestling community. There's a ton of wrestlers. There's thousands of wrestlers in this country, not even counting all the ones worldwide, that all want, that goal of being, of making it, so to speak, right? And, I'm under no illusions that there's a ton of competition out there, that like, hey, maybe my version of making it is different from everybody else. Maybe it's not getting to WWE or AEW or something like that. Maybe it's just I have a really, really good career on the independents, and I make some decent money, and I get to meet a lot of really cool people and have these amazing experiences. And honestly, to see that I've had that kind of an impact on somebody, that they would take the time and their money and their body, and they would say, hey, this is my guy. This is a do or die. I'm always going to love this guy. That sat with me, and it still does. Every time I'm up in Concord, New Hampshire for WFA, because he's one of the regulars up there, and I see him every show. And every chance I get, like, this guy's got a MOSHPIT tattoo. Check this out. Show it off to everybody, because it just means the world to me, man. Like the amount of support that people have. I never asked for anything. I just try to give everybody my all every time that I go through the curtain, and make sure that even if it was the only $20 that you had to spend for the week, that was the only extra money that you had to spend on yourself, and you wanted to go to a wrestling show. I want to make sure that I give you that $20. I want to make sure that you get $100 worth of value for taking the time to come out and see not only me, but everybody else that breaks their back on these wrestling shows because they love the fans as much as I do. And that's it's almost hard to put into any more words than that, because it's powerful.
Right. And it does seem like, not just the guy with the tattoo, but just a lot of your fans in general. You do have, a strong connection with them, which is, almost impossible to, manufacture. I believe, two young fans, first time at an event, first time seeing you, and they gave you a shark plushie, no?
Oh my goodness! So yes, I'm looking at that shark plushie right now. So that was so those two girls are my future nieces-in-law. They were both very excited to come out. And they made me that plushie, and I swear I almost had a tear in my eye, because it was the most adorable thing I've ever seen. They took the shark plushie and they put my death mask makeup on it, and I don't know, it just charmed the pants off of me. But in that show in particular was special too, because I mean, I don't want to divulge too much, but one of my nieces had just lost her father tragically, and in that moment, I know that her and her mom were really just going through a lot, and the fact that they were willing to come out and show support and try to have a good time, I saw that as an opportunity to like just for a little while, see if I can take that young girl's mind off of that and show her a good time, and the fact that they did that and got that plushie for me was just very special.
Oh yeah. Alright. Can you tell us about your love of Star Wars?
Oh sure. I got into Star Wars when I was very, very young. My dad had the original trilogy on VHS, and I swear I must have ran Return of the Jedi through that VCR a million times until it didn't work and it was all chewed up. And as time went on, I was kind of getting older, and then Episode 1 came out, and I never really thought I'd get more Star Wars, but then the whole franchise just exploded into what it is today, and now everybody gets to experience Star Wars. There's a gigantic universe out there, and it just makes me happy. I know there are some elitists out there that are like, oh, there was so much good stuff in the extended universe, and they messed it all up with the movies and this, that, and the other thing. I love all the movies. I could sit and complain and split hairs about it, but you could put on any Star Wars movie, past, present, whatever it is, and I'll be sitting there locked to it. I just always identified with it. I always wanted to be a Jedi. Like, oh, if I ever get a lightsaber, you guys are done. It's still up there on my vacation to-do list. My fiance and I really, really want to go to Disney and go to Galaxy's Edge.
definitely. Um, do you watch the movies in order? 1, 2, 3, 4, or do you go 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 9, 6, 7, 8?
I just watch them in just numerical order. I don't feel like watching the originals first is any better or worse. Personally, I think that they all lead into each other pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like episode 1 and episode 2. Episode 3, it's all right. It's probably my least favorite out of all of them. But like, as soon as you're done with episode 3, you've got A New Hope. And then 4, 5, and 6 are all fantastic.
Okay, now that's interesting because people usually don't like part 1 and 2, but kind of say that part 3 is pretty good. You kind of go the other way with it.
Yeah, see, I thought, okay, so I think the most that people kind of complain about in episode 1 and episode 2 is that primarily in episode 1, I feel like it's the child actor and the way that he played Anakin that rubbed people like kind of in a weird way. I could kind of see that, but at the same time, like that whole movie was kind of building up to pod racing, which was the best part of that movie. I don't know. I had no complaints about it. Just episode 3, it just left me wanting for a bit of story, a bit more of a kind of seamless transition. Like I know they kind of ended it with dropping Luke off and like whatever, but I don't know. I felt like they had all this movie that they were doing in the beginning of it, and then at the end they tried to cram like 3 hours worth of material into like 30 minutes, and that was what bothered me about it.
I gotcha. Well, what is your favorite Star Wars movie?
Oh, Return of the Jedi. Hands down. I could probably watch that movie on repeat, and I think I probably know every line of dialogue.
What has been your favorite Star Wars content out of the original 6 movies?
I mean, out of the original 6, I'd still side with Return of the Jedi. I think the episodes 4, 5, and 6 are still like tried and true favorites, just because like it's nostalgia factor, and B, they were just well done. For the time that they were shot and made, the use of technology. All that kind of stuff. The puppeteering, like, have you ever watched some of the behind the scenes of the puppeteering that they did to make all those movies? Like, it was just, they put so much effort into finding new ways to make the movie that George Lucas wanted to see. And I think that deserves, like, a level of my respect anyway. I think that's why I like them a little bit better.
I gotcha.
But out of the new stuff, Rogue One is amazing.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that. It's weird that how well it aged and how people actually have appreciated it over time. Like when this year was like maybe like 7 years, and people were like it was the best content that Disney has produced through the Star Wars series so far.
I would agree, and with an honorable mention to The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Rogue One was definitely the best movie, and Mandalorian was the best TV show. But then again, there hasn't been that many TV shows for Star Wars.
Right.
Have you? I know that they just made a map of the galaxy of the Star Wars galaxy. Have you had a chance to look at that yet?
No, but as it happens, I'm on my computer right now, and I can take a look at that and give you live commentary. So let's see, Star Wars Galaxy map. Let's see what we got. Oh, this is very interesting. Okay. Let's see. Oh, wow. That gives some really wild perspective. So, yeah. That kind of makes sense, too, because I always kind of figured that the Hutts had, like, a couple of different planets. And they definitely do.
Yes. Well, I mean, I know Jabba is Tatooine, but there were a couple other ones. I think they were in the Clone Wars, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so if you remember, too, there was a mention of Gardola the Hutt,
Yes.
which for a period of time I thought was just another one of the Hutts that was on Tatooine, but I think that Gardola the Hutt was on Teth. I actually have to double check that. I don't want to actually be talking out of my butt here. I consider myself kind of a purist in this.
No, I gotcha. This is actually my first time looking at the map fully as well. It's quite interesting and awe-inspiring to know where everything is.
Okay. So Gardola the Hutt was the owner of Shmi and Anakin Skywalker, and it was a female Hutt that preceded the Clone Wars.
Right.
So, was native to Toth, or Teth. Yeah, Teth, not Toth. Was native to Teth, but was the female alongside Jabba.
The more you know. But seeing this map for the first time, how do you kind of feel about that? I think it's pretty cool myself.
I think it adds quite a lot of context to just, obviously the entire galaxy, but seeing how everything is interconnected. Even still, like, you can see the connections there. These are all assumably trade routes, So you can see where all of these, star systems are interconnected.
Right.
And then, too, looking at where Jeddah is in relation to everything else, too, it is almost as far away as you can get without, hitting the unknown.
Yeah. Alright. Now, going from Star Wars to, can you tell us about your love of D&D?
Of D&D?
Yes.
Oh, geez. So I'm actually kind of a newbie to D&D. Within the past couple of years, anyway. One of my best friends, he's actually my roommate, and the one that came up with my moniker, the Heavy Metalweight, he's played Dungeons and Dragons for years. And a big group of my friend group had played as well. And it turned into something over COVID where we were all just kind of like, well, we don't have anything to do. If we're all, stuck at home, why don't we start a campaign, right? And my friend was like, hey, you're not doing anything, so why don't you learn how to play? And at first I was kind of like hesitant. I was like, I don't know if I'll like it. And it seems like really involved and, whatever. I was kind of standoffish about it until I actually started getting into character building. And once I started building a character, I was like, I'm gonna love this. And that kind of developed into, we had a Friday night game every week. And we finished a campaign and we started a new one. We started running, I think it's Legends of Saltmarsh was the one that we were running. And unfortunately, it turned out that all of us ended up having things happen with our job to where Friday nights didn't work for us anymore, and we haven't really played much since. So I've actually been kind of like itching to get another group together, and I have a few friends at the Lockup Academy that are interested in starting a game. So we might have some D&D happening here really soon.
Okay. And would you be the what is it called? The game master for that one? Or
So I've never actually been a dungeon master. Usually I leave that up to people who are a little bit more experienced than me. But the plan was for me to run a campaign at one point or another. We just never really got to that point. So I think if I like maybe got back into it for a little bit and took some time to really develop a campaign for a few other players, I think I would really like it.
perfect. And what is your character, may I ask?
So the last character that I made was it was a Giassi. It was like a water mage. So like I was very big into elemental based spell casting.
Okay. And what level were you?
I think we had gotten to level 10, and that was right as I was about to pick up some pretty cool bonuses, which is why it was a little bit disappointing too, because I think I was about to get like pretty powered up with my character.
All right. I think it's time. Well, let me ask you this. When is the last time Mosh Pit was in the Mosh Pit?
Oh wow! Actually, very recently. And this, to the point of your question, I work in live shows and concerts and stuff so much that most of the time I'm behind the scenes, or I'm behind the lighting console and I'm running a show with a group or something along those lines. But recently, as kind of a little gift to ourselves, my friend and I that run our lighting company together, we took a trip to New York, and we saw Meshuggah and Cannibal Corpse. And what a great show that was. One of the reasons we really wanted to go is that we both really like their lighting designer. He's very, very talented. And that was the first time in a bit that I've been able to hop in the pit and throw some bows, as it were. But I felt very invigorated because it had been a while, and sometimes being behind the console and watching it happen right in front of you, and you're like, oh, I wish I was there.
It's interesting the lighting part. You said that the lighting. It's very intricate, no?
There's definitely a lot that goes into it. One of the things that kind of got me involved locally with doing lighting. I mean, it was kind of the whole way that I actually got into wrestling in the first place. I was a house lighting guy at a place in Providence called Fet Music Hall. They used to run Beyond Wrestling there, and when I was there, they were running a promotion called Wrestling Has a Tomorrow. And the school that I ended up going to, which turned out to be right down the street from where I grew up, and I had no idea, they ended up hiring me to do like a consult, because they had a ton of lights that they just kind of had no idea what to do with at the school, and they wanted to make the most of it. So at the time, I had a bunch of lights in my car that I was getting ready to throw into storage anyway. And I saw what was going on in there. They had like a mixture of DJ lights from Guitar Center and like garden lights from Home Depot, and nothing talked or communicated. I saw it and I was like, oh, this can't stand. I'm going to give you guys some stuff. We're going to put some lights up around the ring. We're going to make an entrance. We're going to get you guys a control system so somebody can operate the lights, And I probably gave them a couple of grand worth of lights, and I started showing up for their Thursday night student shows to help get everything running. And after a few months of that, I really started getting the bug, and I've always been a wrestling fan. So I asked the owner, I was like, hey, just out of curiosity, if I wanted to go to the school, what would it cost me? And he kind of looked at me like I had 8 heads. He was like, "You do so much around here. Like, if you want to go, just show up. Like, I'm not going to charge you to go to the school." So lighting paid my way through wrestling school. And now it's a way of me bridging a gap and making connections with people. So when I travel with Bob, he introduces me as, "Hey, this is my student, whatever." But also, he's a professional lighting engineer. And if you have issues with your lighting, he can help you. And that's gotten me bookings. That's gotten me gigs that pay for lighting rentals and stuff like that. Me and my company and my partner, we supply lights for Wrestling with Character. We supply lights for Wrestling Federation of America and Top Rope Promotions. And we're expanding too. We have other companies in Connecticut and Massachusetts that are interested in using us and stuff. And yeah, it is complicated to a degree because you end up having 2 different layers of it. You have like a layer that's ring lighting, right? Which and that concept, you want to have natural lighting. Natural lighting is the best. It makes muscle tone appear better. You get better contrast on skin tones and things like that, and it doesn't like blur out people with darker skin tones. So there's a bit of science that actually goes into that and getting color temperatures right. Whereas when you're building like an entrance, it just has a bunch of stuff that's gonna flash and do crazy colors and stuff like that. That's more of hey, let's throw some stuff together that'll look good and then run some effects through it. So there really is that kind of 2 different layers of it specifically for wrestling, and it does get a bit intricate, but it's very fun. It's one of those things that, just like wrestling, I love to do. So it never really feels like work.
I got you. Okay. It is time for the colossal question. Let's say they're making a movie about you. Every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on your movie soundtrack?
Ooh, okay. So I can actually, I'm going to look at my Spotify because I think I know which ones. These are my get in the car and kind of wail by myself kind of songs. So there's a band called Polaris, and they have a song called Consume. It is very, very hard, very heavy, very chuggy and groovy, and I like it a lot. I would probably have that song. I would probably go with a Meshuggah song, Bleed, because that's a heavy metal anthem for sure. And I got to throw a classic in there and say Holy Diver by Dio.
Okay. A solid 3 picks to say the least.
Oh, thank you.
Now everybody knows you get the soundtrack first, then you write the script, and then you go to casting. Who plays you? And you can't say yourself because you are obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
Ooh, okay, so who plays me? Never actually thought about that one. I don't know why, but I kind of lean towards like a Keanu Reeves type, if that's not too bold to say. I feel like you kind of have a similar facial look, and I feel like he could pull off the long hair and metal look. And not for nothing, I would be totally stoked if John Wick played me in a movie.
I think we all would.
And I'd be stoked to do the cameo.
Oh, yeah. Now, every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on your... No. Every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people significant to you in your story that would be in your movie, and who would play them?
Well, we gotta have Bob. Of course we gotta have Bob. I feel like somebody like Leslie Nielsen could play Bob
Okay.
pretty well. I'm sorry, not Leslie Nielsen. Leslie Nielsen is dead. I was thinking of the new Naked Gun movie with Liam Neeson.
Okay.
I think Liam Neeson could play Bob pretty well. I would also say that Elia Markopoulos, he would have to be in there as well, and I think that he could be played by what's the name of the guy from Saturday Night Live that dated a Kardashian?
I know who you're talking about. Why can't I remember his name?
Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson, yes.
Pete Davidson could play Elia pretty well.
Okay.
And I feel like Ewan McGregor would be a good stand-in for Matt Taven. Very handsome-esque, and good jawline.
Yeah, absolutely. He just has to belt on Matt Taven, and he'll be great.
Yeah, 100%. If he hits the tagline, where I'm sold. He nailed the audition.
Hell yeah. This is sounding like a great movie, a blockbuster to say the least, and you could pre-order the tickets now.
Hell yeah.
Now, onto a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
No, absolutely not. We don't do that kind of trash. I apologize to anybody that likes a Hawaiian pizza. I get it. I love pineapple in almost any other situation. You put pineapple juice with a little bit of tequila, I'm there. Even you give me a nice little fruit tray, I'll eat some pineapple just like that. But you cook it and you ruin it. I can't abide. Ham on the pizza, go for it. Pineapple, please take that somewhere where I can't smell it.
Okay, so MOSHPIT turning complete heel on the pineapple lovers.
Yes. The one thing that can make me go pure heel is pineapple on pizza.
So, what's your spirit Pokemon?
Ooh, my spirit Pokemon. Probably a Snorlax. I love me a good nap. Any chance I get to take a nap, I'm right there. My fiance is the same way. We try to schedule our naps so that we can have them together. But I would say Snorlax. I mean, if it were like me being serious and I wanted to be all badass about it, I would probably be like a Hitmonchan or something like that. But if we're being honest, it's probably the Snorlax.
We love the late great Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for Doug? THUG.
Oh, gosh. I feel like I did know this at one point, but I gotta be honest, I don't remember off the top of my head.
T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail. Because a Doug can't spell.
Oh, man, I'd almost forgotten about that. Oh, I did forget about that, but... Oh, to be reminded, man.
Yes, we love the late great Tracy Smothers, trying to keep the memory alive on the show.
Oh, yes, I'm going to remember that for the rest of my days now.
Weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully. Would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual physical Rock.
I'd be interested, for sure. I mean, I would say I'd be interested to hear what the booker has for that. You know, like, who's going over?
The Rock.
What do you want for the Rock's going over?
The Rock is
Okay.
The Rock is the world champion, so The Rock has to go over.
Ooh, is it like an igneous rock? Is it really like really hard, or is it like Brit? These are all things that we need to know.
I would say that it's maybe like a garden rock, and it's about the size of a shoe, I'd say.
Okay, all right. So if the Rock's going over, and he's the champion, I think I could put that Rock over. I think I could do the job for the Rock.
All right, perfect. Mosh Pit, doing the job for the champion. Gotta love it. Just for context, there's a wrestler named Psycho Mike that indeed wrestled a Rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match. That's an Iron Man match that lasts for 2 weeks.
Wow. I am so impressed by that. Like, I think that's even better than who was it, Ibushi that wrestled the doll?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's better. I think wrestling the Rock for 15 minutes is way better than wrestling the doll.
Mike might not agree because he did not win that match.
I mean, as you should. You got to do the job.
He did the job for the champion, yeah. But he had a rivalry that spanned like 2-3 years with that Rock, so.
Ooh, that Rock must have been a real heater.
On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So I would like to see myself, with some TV work by then. Some companies that I would really, really enjoy working for are NWA, New Japan, New Japan Strong. I obviously not leaving out the big ones like TNA and WWE and AEW. But I'm also kind of realistic in my goals, like I was saying a little bit earlier, and I also am very conscious of where Mosh Pit and my wrestling would fit in well. Because I could sit here and daydream and say, oh well, I think I'd do well in WWE, but there's a very big ecosystem there, and there's anybody who's been a wrestling fan knows that some people that even the fans really, really like, sometimes they don't get the push they need, and they end up kind of falling into obscurity, and so that ends up being a little sad, and I'd like to avoid that and just do what's strong for me, and I think that would be wrestling, like I said, in places like the NWA or New Japan. I think those are places that would help me grow as well, as a wrestler, as a person. I think that's where I'd like to be, and I'd also like to be just in general traveling more. I think traveling is one of the most fun parts about wrestling since I've been able to start doing it with Bob, and the experiences that I have on the road and meeting new people and meeting young wrestlers that are trying to figure it out is, I don't know, I get so much enjoyment out of that and fulfillment from being able to even just give somebody a look. If you're having like a practice match with somebody or you're running a drill with somebody you've never met before, and you can kind of impart some of the things that to them. Because like in Northeast, we're really blessed with great wrestling schools.
Oh, yeah.
Especially where I'm at, you could throw a rock in any direction and you'll hit a good wrestling school within 25-50 miles. But it's not like that everywhere. In some places of the country, people drive 2-3 hours every week to train, and they only get once a week and they only get a couple of hours, whereas we train multiple times a week, and we'll stay all night sometimes if we're working on stuff, if we're really trying to get our cardio in, so like I think just kind of bringing that level of experience of the Northeast to the rest of the country would be a great goal to kind of pursue in the next 5 years.
Hell yeah. And I could definitely see Mosh Pit fitting well in the NWA. In New Japan, you would actually have to come to my neck of the woods to get some training with New Japan Strong. Usually they do seminars every, they accept students every 3 to 6 months.
I have heard that. So are you in California?
Yes, Los Angeles.
Oh, no way. So I went to college in LA. I went to the LA Film School,
Oh, that's awesome.
and I was stationed not too far from you at Camp Pendleton.
Oh, that's up in San Diego.
Yeah, it is.
My
Well familiar with the area.
my co-host is actually he actually lives in San Diego as well. He's a Marine, so.
Oh wow. Well, if you get a chance, please do tell him that from Mosh Pit that I said thank you for his service, and I appreciate that.
I will definitely tell him that, and thank you for your service as well.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
What is a match from Mosh Pit that you would recommend people go out of their way to see that best shows off you as a pro wrestler?
Okay. I would say this is a very, very close one too, because both of these matches are matches that I send to people if they ask me for a match. There is a match, and I will actually find out what episode it is, but it is from Mid-Atlantic Territories Wrestling in Virginia, and it is against Preston Quinn for the Mid-Atlantic TV title. And it was a match that I'm very, very proud of because him and I had wrestled a match previously, and this was when I was still kind of struggling to pick up on who I was and really show that in the ring. And in that rematch that we had, really it just brought out the best of me. Okay, so here we go. It's Mid-Atlantic Territory Wrestling, national TV. The date on it is 5/13/25. And this was one of my favorite matches because Preston Quinn is just such a good wrestler. He's an old school guy. He's from the Anderson family. And he really challenged me in that match. And I will say that that's some of my best work. And I would say as a close second, there's a match between myself and he's a WWE ID guy, Aaron Rourke. Him and I had a great singles match at WFA, and that match is on the WFA YouTube as well.
And if you could send me the link to the first match, that would be appreciated. Second match is the second match on YouTube as well?
It is. I could send you both if you like.
That would be appreciated, and I will put them in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox, for anybody that hasn't seen them, wants to see them, wants to re-see them after this interview.
Awesome, thank you.
Absolutely. And since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
All right.
This is our speed round or bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Hit me.
Greatest wrestler of all time.
Greatest wrestler of all time. Stone Cold.
Worst wrestler.
Ooh, worst wrestler of all time. I don't know. I know this is supposed to be speedrunning, but I got to think about this. Maybe somebody that I just didn't really like. I'll go with Alberto Del Rio.
I will accept that answer. You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Okay, if it's today, Cody Rhodes. If it's anybody that I could possibly think about wrestling, I would probably say Stone Cold.
Okay. If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Still a huge fan of CM Punk and the Cult of Personality.
Oh yeah. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
Kayfabe is still alive.
We would have also accepted tastes great on toast.
I need me some kayfabe flavored jam.
Squash. Vegetable or fruit?
I always thought it was a vegetable.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
It is indeed a fruit. It has seeds. Tomato logic.
Oh, damn. All right, you got me on that one.
Yes, but you're part of Squash Squad now, and that means a hell of a lot more.
I'm honored.
New Japan wrestler Taichi. His ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
Okay. Well, I feel like this is a bit different if you're, a guy or a girl. But if if you're asking my personal opinion, I think 10% cheek is more than enough.
10% cheek. Gotcha. And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
I can say with confidence, no. I have had a conversation about AEW where Darby Allin came up at Hershey Park, though.
But not in a supermarket.
Not in a supermarket, though, no.
And that is the correct answer.
Nice!
And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Oh, of course, man. This has been a pleasure. And let me just say, dude, you did so much research and, you hit me with questions that I just totally didn't expect. And I appreciate how thorough you've been. And it just made for a great interview.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's, we do our research on, Wrestling With. Once again, can you tell us, where we can find you on social media and your merchandise?
Okay, so to find me on social media, you want to look for Tales of the Mosh Pit, TAILZ, on Instagram and Facebook primarily. On X, my tag is King Mashdora. And then if you'd like to buy some merch, I am on Pro Wrestling Tees. Same link, Tales of the Mosh Pit, or you can just search Mosh Pit, and I've got a bunch of awesome tees up there for you.
Personal favorite is the Taco Bell one that says Live Mosh.
Thank you. I think between that one and the Real Moshers are the two top sellers.
I completely understand why. it's good stuff. You don't have to even type it into your Google machine. All of the links to all his social media and merchandise will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox. Simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. You have no excuse. Buy a damn shirt. Of course, thank you.
That's right. Get out there and buy some gear. Help me stay on the road.
Yes, this man needs new tattoos.
And some new gear.
And new gear, yes. Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us next Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews, and follow the show at Wrestling with E, both on X, Thread, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Alright, when I say wrestling lit, you say entertainment, okay?
Got you.
For our special guest, Mosh Pit, Coleco Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.